Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gamers Den podcast. I'm your co-host, RelayTS, alongside me, the other co-host, crenbeast, and we're on episode 4 now, and chapter 3 is confirmed. We got a lot to uncover today. Cren, what do you want to go into first?
What's up, man? Well, welcome back to the podcast, guys. First, I just kind of want to say thank you to everyone who listens to this. It's been a long time coming for this podcast, so we appreciate all the support. With that being said, we have a lot to go over, a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of drama in the community, a lot of Fortnite news as well. But let's jump into a couple of questions that we got first. So on Twitter, sorry, bad podcasting, I am pulling it up. So the first question that we got was by Frenchie at Frenchie. Oh, Frenchie, you need to update your username, bud. At Frenchie256529968. Do you think the graphics will look significantly different in Chapter 3, kind of like with Chapter 1 to Chapter 2 graphics where the game looked totally different? Yes, but probably in a way that you're not expecting. Relay, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just expecting totally new graphics, to be honest with you. I don't, maybe like between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, they might combine them, but honestly, they upgraded it between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. I'm expecting a whole different graphic in Chapter 3, but, we're not going to know until it happens, but I'm assuming we're going to have a similar graphics to both Chapter 1 and 2, maybe combined, but yeah, a different variation for sure.
Yeah, so I know that some of the data miners have kind of said that the old graphics were updated or tweaked or something along those lines. So a lot of people are being excited that old graphics are coming back. Personally, I do think that they're going to be that old nostalgic graphic, but not in the BR. I think that's going to be placed into their survival mode that's been leaked for a long time, or there's talks of like a smaller MMO type of deal that Epic has big plans with Fortnite outside of just the BR. So I think when you do something that's bigger like that, you can't, like the engine can't handle like just insane graphics. So I think it will be those old graphics. So I think that's what's going on there. But also we do have to talk about it because on the map, for the last 2 seasons, there's been that one chest that has the original map graphics on it. It's the original chest. Like it looks different than all the chests now. So I don't know if that's Epic just playing homage to the old map and to the old graphics and just, shouting it out basically, or if that's kind of maybe a sign of things to come. Who knows? I doubt it. I don't see why they would revert back because that's more nostalgic than anything. The new graphics, from a critical standpoint, they look better. Like even if you miss the old ones, what it is now just looks better. Even though I am on performance mode, so it kind of looks like I'm playing, Roblox sometimes. But anyway, did you have any questions come in on your end, Relay?
No, I didn't have any.
Okay, there is one more. It was basically just asked, what do you think Chapter 3 will bring? Which is, we've talked about Chapter 3 a lot, guys, and
I mean the real answer
sorry,
is
but not sorry.
No,
we have some idea.
Yeah.
So if you want to jump into, because the last time we talked, it was all speculation. We didn't know anything about it. We were assuming that Chapter 3 was coming. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Relay, why don't you tell them, with Hypex, kind of what has happened in the last 7 days?
I mean, I would like to say that I knew it was coming, and I knew, 100%. But, I guess you could call it speculation. But yeah, Chapter 3 is 100% confirmed now. The reliable leakers in the community said it's in the files. The black holes coming back, all that stuff. But I think Chapter 3 is going to be interesting, and I think, I made a YouTube video about this, but I personally think that Epic has been preparing for Chapter 3 for longer than we think. And like they're having a new mechanic. The sliding mechanic has been leaked. So that's like a whole new mechanic in the game. Like that could be game changing. Maybe it won't, maybe it will. I know that there's been like old gun graphics leaked, which is interesting. And I just think, going towards the end of the season as well, and end of the chapter, they've been bringing back old vehicles. I mean, it could be a sign, maybe we're going back to the old ways, but I don't know. I'm pretty excited though.
So what you just said is I personally think that's what's happening. So a lot of people are getting super excited. Mechs are back. Shopping carts are back. I never saw that coming, by the way. And then quad crashers were updated in the file, so those will be coming back at some point. And then also there's been random golf carts found in some people's games in the actual live match. So don't know what's going on there, but a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, is them telling us the old maps coming back or the old graphics or the old whatever?
No.
Maybe. Like, I'm not going to say no, but probably not. But what I will say is I think it's more of them telling us that what Fortnite once was, at least from an update and from a communication standpoint, is coming back. Like, because a lot of people have complained for a while that Fortnite, while they've done different things, it's just felt different, and not even from a nostalgic, like we miss the old map standpoint, but from a, like, they haven't communicated, no patch notes. They're not bringing in those fun items anymore. They're like shopping carts, probably the dumbest thing to ever enter Fortnite, but also one of the most fun things to ever enter Fortnite. And we need that. Like, it can't all be competitive. It can't all be sweats. Like, we need some of that content when you get on YouTube or TikTok and seeing somebody go down a ramp, with a shopping cart.
The old feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just Epic kind of telling us, hey, we hear you. We know what you want. We can't give you exactly what you want because you want the old map. And I think they know that we would be happy with the old map for a month and then we would get bored. So now, with that being said, is there a world where they bring back the old map, but completely updated? Maybe it looks a little different. Like, yeah, there is a world. Like, I think it's less than 10%, but I do think there's some percentage there. Like, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but we can't ignore what's been happening. We can't ignore the old graphic update, all the different updates, things being put back in. We can't ignore it. So I think it's a possibility, but I don't know.
I don't think it's likely.
We'll see.
No. I think it's too early to bring back the old map, to be honest with you. I think they need to write it out like another chapter if they're going to bring it back, just like make us miss it even more. Because I feel like right now, we would only like it for 1 month and then we'd move on. So I don't think it'd be worth it.
Yeah, I will say one thing. I think this is going to be the biggest event as far as storyline that we've ever gotten, because a lot of events aren't really storyline based. Like, the Robot versus Monster event is one of the best events of all time. And although that was storyline based, you didn't really learn anything. You didn't know. We had to piece it together afterwards. We didn't know why that monster was there. We didn't really know a ton about the 0 point. And then the Travis Scott concert was probably its top 3, in my opinion, of events. And that was not a storyline at all. Unless you want to say that when we went into space, we saw the new map at some point, which is possible. But so I think this event is going to be up there with the Midas Device event and any of the Jonesy, the recent ones. I think it's going to be the biggest storyline event. And I'm excited to get predictions out. We're still a couple of weeks away, but I'm excited to hear RelayTS and his theories on TikTok.
I've already made a few theories, but I mean, it's kind of hard. Yeah. It's not kind of hard. It's really hard to make like an educated guess right now.
Yeah.
But it's still fun.
Nobody knows. I do think there are some people that know. Yeah. I think Cypher knows a lot more than he lets on. I think Tabor Hill knows more than he lets on. I think a lot of those creators know more, but specifically those two, because I think they both know people that work with Epic. And I think HypeX knows a lot more than he's letting on. And here's why. After everything broke that, it was official about Chapter 3, at least official, unofficially official from the community and people who know what they're talking about, he put out and basically said, I'm glad I can finally talk about this. And then he said what he knows. So basically he's known for a while. And I think he also ended it with saying, it's really cool. You guys are going to be excited when you see it, or something like that. Like, he knows, I personally think that he knows everything, and he just has that trust built up to where he's not going to leak it.
Yeah.
Like, he's only going to leak what the people who give it to him allows him to leak. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of nervous though, because he said, that Chapter 2 Season 7 is going to be really cool as well. And now he's saying the Chapter 3 map is going to be really cool. So I hope he's not talking about like Chapter 2 cool. I hope he's talking about like a whole different, level of coolness.
In fairness, Chapter 2, Season 7, from a casual point, you look at it from a comp point, from a casual point of view, at least for 3 weeks was really cool because you had the whole, being abducted into the spaceship, the mini game. You had the spaceships everywhere, which honestly was the worst. Those were worse than the mechs. Fight me.
Oh yeah, they were.
They're more annoying than the mechs. They were easier to kill once you learned how to handle it. But like for the first week when nobody knew what to do, it was the worst. But yeah, that season was cool. But that season was Chapter 2 in a nutshell. Cool for 2 to 3 weeks and then old.
Yeah.
So, and that's what was so cool about Chapter 1. Seasons only lasted like a month and a half back then. Like, Epic, why are seasons lasting 3 to 4 months?
I mentioned this on my YouTube video as well. Like I think they went to Chapter 2 with a whole entire different format where they said, we're gonna have these seasons last twice as long. Let's see how it works. Obviously, it didn't work, so okay, let's cut this short. Let's move on to the next format. So I think that could be part of it as well, moving on early. But I think they just messed up.
I do too, and I've said this before. I think COVID had a part in it. I think the lawsuit with Apple and just kind of financial stuff had a part in it. They had other things going on at Epic. They bought Rocket League. They'd done so many freaking promotions with Marvel, DC, and all of that. They have, most of the companies that they've done stuff with is actually owned by Disney. So that tells me that Epic and Disney love each other and they have like a major partnership. So, which also, on that note, remember ESPN is also owned by Disney. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're talking about future networking. But yeah, so I think Epic just had a lot going on. So I think it's going to get better. I really do. I could be burned. Like we could get to Chapter 3 and it's the same map. And if it is,
I will not play. Will not see me. I won't play.
You probably won't see me. I'll probably just full dive into my career and stop doing content. Like I'll be so upset. Like I won't be able to live. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. I do not think that's going to happen. I think we're going to get a new map and we'll go back to Chapter 3 and kind of discuss some of the leaks and some of that stuff. But I think there's a couple of news topics we need to at least touch on. So if you're not aware, Streamlabs OBS, which apparently isn't Streamlabs OBS, has been called out and effectively being canceled right now as a business because, so we all know it as Streamlabs OBS. And OBS is a company, and the software is called Open Broadcast Software, OBS. So Streamlabs was a separate company who built their streaming platform, a free-to-use streaming platform to make streaming easier on OBS software. So you use the Open Broadcast software, which is totally legal. But the problem is they used OBS in their name, and they had asked OBS if they could use, OBS in their name as Streamlabs OBS, and they were asked not to, and they did it anyway. And I don't know why we're just now finding out about it, because Relay, we talked about this. We both just assumed Streamlabs and OBS were the same company.
I thought it was like literally the same exact company. It was just like one app had a different format, the other one had the most simple format. Yeah. But now we know.
That's what I thought.
That's crazy to me. But I actually like, not because of this whole situation, but it kind of like reminded me almost to move to OBS because Streamlabs OBS for some reason took up 20% of my CPU. And regular OBS only takes up 3% of my CPU. So that's why I made the switch. It wasn't anything to do with the situation. I think it just reminded me to do it. But it's crazy. I love Streamlabs in the way it worked, but it just really took up way too much of my CPU. But it did have a lot of neat features that OBS doesn't have. So, I guess it is what it is. It's not going to get canceled, though. It's still going to be a platform.
So I still use Streamlabs. Excuse me, I'm not going to call it Streamlabs OBS anymore. I do use it because I have everything set up on it. It is weird though. Like I've never seen that before. And I don't understand how they got away with it for so long because it wasn't like a harmless little thing. Like everybody thought it was the same company. Like you just assumed that. And I didn't realize how OBS worked in their open system. So that makes more sense. So I don't think Streamlabs really from a contractual standpoint or from a legal standpoint did too much that was just against the law. I think it was more of a frowned upon thing that you just don't do.
Yeah.
So, we'll see where it goes. People are still going to use it. Streamlabs is a great service. It's a great system, but it goes deeper. Apparently they also copied their entire UI system. Like just everything looks exactly like a different company who came up with it before them. And I'm blanking on the name of that. That just came out late last night after everything. So Streamlabs, man, I'm just telling you guys, you run a business. It's not TikTok. You can't just copy other people and get bigger. So, yeah, that's a little bit on Streamlabs. Next thing up, 1%. So if you're not familiar, 1% is a esports organization, but really not even esports, just a more of a new age content organization within gaming. And it was founded by the old Red House, who ended up LG. They've been all over the place, but you probably would know them as the LG Fortnite house. So it was NickMercs, Kiwis, which Kiwis is a whole different story. NickMercs, Kiwis, Formula, Random, and then Aoli, who was the editor and filmer. He ended up being in it. And I might be missing one. Correct me if I'm missing one. But they started 1%. They started their own org. They didn't want to deal with investors. They didn't want to deal with any of that. They had the money. So they started it. They got a 1% house, even though they don't really use it that much. And they did everything on their own. And they started to sign a few people, but they only have like 9 people, I believe. They have Ducky. They have they got some other people that kind of blew up. Disc once they got into 1%. But so that's kind of a backstory on 1%. But NickMercs tweeted yesterday leaving 1%, took out 1% of all of his bio. The other people are doing that as well. So Relay, I kind of want to get your thoughts on it. What's going on? How do you, that's like Steve Jobs leaving Apple. How do you leave like something that you own? Like, just tell me what your thoughts on the situation.
The truth is that we have no idea what's going on, but
none.
We're going to know here in about a few hours. We're actually filming this before the announcement at 4 p.m. EST on Friday.
Yep.
But I personally believe that it's either a huge rebrand, which is most likely, because they haven't been like dead, but they haven't really, blown up since they launched. So they might be doing the whole entire rebrand, which is understandable. Or they might have sold, maybe they sold and someone else is going to take over it. And maybe all the owners are going to be part of the content, part of the team. But I mean, I really don't know. Formula's sold the team before, with his old team, and he's done this before, but he said it's part of a new chapter. Maybe they definitely lined it up with sort of chapter 3, I think. If they didn't, that's a huge coincidence. But I think they probably sold or the rebranding. I mean, who knows though? We have no idea.
Yeah, we've definitely seen Formula do that before. I do think this is different because in the past, while he did technically own Red at the time, he didn't start Red. He got in on it and they needed somebody to take over, so he ended up taking majority share. And that was also back when orgs were a little different. Now 1% is probably, in the millions as far as valuation at the least. They're smaller, but they are because they just, they have a multi-million-dollar house that they own. They bought the house, they didn't rent it. So they're at least in the millions as far as valuation. And back then, they were more clans than they are actual organizations. And so that was more of a, he owned a gaming clan, it was really cool, but it's a little different than owning 1% and how big it is now. And I don't personally watch 1%, but I used to, but I was going through their stuff. They're still kind of popping off. They're still doing numbers on YouTube. A lot of their creators are still doing really well. They're really well received by the community. They have a lot of great guys. The only hiccup they had was the Kiwi situation. So I'm not sure. I really don't know. I think it could be a situation where some of the guys just decided, hey, I don't want this. NickMercs really doesn't upload anymore. Rarely. He still plays, but he doesn't do much anymore. He's gotten really into lifting, and I know he's gotten into some investing and kind of business stuff. So maybe he's just at a point in his life where he wants to, create different type of content and just be a different person than being in a gaming org. Who knows? I think Formula is all in on uploading, and he was on like 1,000-day streak. And I think that he's a lot more content driven. So maybe he wants to go solo and not have to deal with owning an organization. So, or I think it could be a rebrand because it's super weird. I think it could be a situation where they're, saying to leave, everybody's talking about them because they did something extravagant when they started 1%. So it could be something where we're talking about it on this podcast. People are talking about them on Twitter. And then, when the announcement comes, it's because they changed their name, or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
we just don't know. And this podcast will probably come up a little after. So guys, bear with us if you already know the answer. It's just unfortunate timing. On that note, I think do you have anything else in the 1% situation?
nope. I think we covered it.
Okay. Well, let's jump back into Fortnite, this time on the competitive scene. Do we have a competitive announcement coming up that I saw?
Yeah, we're filming this podcast at the most unfortunate time ever, because today they're going to be announcing whether it's going to be solo, duo, trio, or not trio, or squad FNCS. I personally hope it's duos or solos.
Duos.
If it is squads, I'm probably going to lose my mind, to be honest with you. And I don't know why they would do squads, considering we just had a whole entire 2-3 seasons of trios, and clearly we're over it. So adding another person on there would be even worse. But hopefully it's duos, maybe it's solos. But you guys know the answer by the time this comes out. But me and Cran are still anticipating.
Yeah. So guys, we are currently recording this podcast on a Friday, November the 19th, not early morning, but in the morning. So you guys will probably know the answer to this. It is what it is, but we'll give our predictions. I think it's going to be duos. I think duos has been kind of leaked or not really leaked, but talked about, rumored, favored by people who. Yeah, I think, and this is the first step. If Epic is really listening to us, it's going to be duos, or it's just going to stay trios. I know people are tired of trios, but from a critical standpoint, trios is probably that sweet spot where it's really good from a team aspect. Squads, way too much. Squads would be awful. A lot of pro players would probably quit. They would quit. I'm not saying probably, they would quit. Solos, I think, in my opinion, that kills the reverse 2Ks of the world. It kills the really good Fortnite team players who can lead a team, but they're not necessarily just incredible fighting. Because solos, if you play solo arena, it's brain dead. It's just jump in somebody's box, run around, kill people. And you don't you have to be semi-smart on rotations, but if you're just a better fighter than everyone else, you can. Solos is going to bring a whole new level of Fortnite pros, in my opinion. A lot of people who are relevant now will not be relevant in solos, and a lot of people who are irrelevant now will become relevant during solos because it's a completely different style.
The only people who would say relevant during solos is Day, Clicks, and all the insane fraggers.
So the bigger ones would, like Benji. Benji could play. Teams of 10, he's still going to be towards the top. Yeah. So, and Mongrel, if we go back to solos, I think Mongrel goes back to the top. I think he's a guy who goes from where he is now to back to the precipice at the top. And Booga stays at the top. Booga is one of those guys who can play anything, but in my opinion, he's actually better solo because he can lead a team. And I think he's gotten so much better at that recently. You saw that in the last FNCS, but he is so good by himself. He saw it in the World Cup. And I know that's cliche to bring back the World Cup, but he was dominating in the qualifiers for the World Cup. I think Clicks is going to really benefit from solos because he is probably, for as good as he is compared to how bad he is in tournaments with a duo or a trio, it's kind of crazy. How good of a Fortnite player he is.
So much, dude. So much.
He does, but it's also that he plays. I've watched him. He plays terrible with teammates. He has a hard time communicating anything, and I think that has to do with just the way he kind of stutters when he talks. That's normal. Not talking bad about it. Yeah. It's not his fault, but I think that plays into it. So I think if he plays solos, you could see a rise of Clicks back to the top. When I say the top, I'm talking. He qualified for the World Cup. That put him at one point one of the top 100 players in the whole world. So I think you can see that. Also, prediction time. I think Tfue is coming back to Fortnite.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Let's go. No, I'm serious. I think Tfue will make a return. I think with Chapter 3. Not because of competitive, but I think that'll get him back into competitive because I think Chapter 3 is genuinely going to pique everyone's interest. And here's my bold prediction of the day. You ready, Relay?
Yep.
I think it's going to be duo FNCS, duo moving forward. I think it's going to be duo for the World Cup. And I think there's going to be solo and duo for the World Cup. I think the team event in the World Cup is going to be duo. And I think Tfue is going to come back because of Chapter 3. And I think Cloakzy is going to come back because of Chapter 3. And I think Cloakzy is going to plan on not actually coming back, but I think he's going to get back into it. And I think we're going to see a return of Tfue and Cloakzy.
I think you're out of your mind, and I don't think Cloakzy would ever return to competitive Fortnite. But
I think he is. I think right now, if you asked him, he would say never.
Yeah.
But I'm making my prediction right now. Chapter 3 is going to be so good. I think Cloakzy comes back.
Okay.
And if we get a Tfue Cloakzy combo back, Fortnite's back.
I mean,
convince me otherwise.
You're already pushing it. Saying Tfue's going to come back. I hope Tfue comes back. And
Tfue's back.
If Tfue comes back, you guys are probably at home seeing, oh yeah, right now, Tfue hasn't seriously played since Chapter 2 Season 3. He's going to be washed. This, that. Tfue could play for a week and be better than all of us watching this podcast right now, like by a mile.
Oh, easy.
By a mile. And
easy.
I don't think he would duo up with someone like Cloakzy. I think he would duo up with someone like Scoped.
Scoped, baby. The Tfue Scoped.
I think we could see the Tfue and Scope duo back, and I think that'd be awesome. They were a duo back in Duo FNCS, weren't they? I'm pretty sure they were.
So they were not only that, they were a duo during Duo FNCS, and they did pretty well considering they didn't scrim all that often. And then they trioed with Innocent. So it was him, Scoped, and Inno for Chapter 2 Season 3, I believe. So I think 2 was duo with Scoped. I think Season 3 was when they first went to trios. And because they scrimmed that whole season, because I watched all their Twitch streams where they scrimmed. That was the Grotto. No, I guess it was Season 2 then, because it was when the Grotto was big. So either way, yes, they duoed, then trioed, and then Tfue quit Fortnite. So,
but I mean, if Tfue does come back, I think he's gonna try to take it seriously. Cloakzy, I don't think he could be a competitive player anymore, but I think Tfue could get back on top for sure if he really wanted to. Well, I mean, he's good at literally every game. Yeah,
and I think if Cloakzy wanted to come back, if he wanted to grind, I wouldn't say that he couldn't be competitive, because people forget he carried Tfue. He was better than Tfue back in Chapter 1. He was.
In the day, though. I mean, things have changed.
Yeah, but if you go back and watch Cloakzy, it wasn't like watching. He was so far ahead of his time. He was making triple edits that most kids can't make today back in Season 8. It was similar to watching Hamlin's back then. He was so far ahead, but Cloakzy was far superior to Hamlin, so I don't even want to hear that. But yeah. No, Cloakzy could do it if he wanted to. I agree. I don't necessarily think he wants to, but I think if Chapter 3 is that good, then you can't help but you have fun on.
It has to be perfect. It has to be perfect for that fact.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I wouldn't put him in there's other creators that I think are far less likely to come back, like Symphony. Symphony was another quote top tier pro at one time that I don't think will ever come back to competitive. I think Cloakzy's more likely than him. Fair. My prediction was more. That's why I called it a bold prediction. Yeah. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. I think it's 25-75 as far as percentage, but never say never.
I think NickMercs is 100%. I think that's a give me. With NickMercs come back to competitive as well. I think he'll come back to competitive, or at least he'll try. But
I hope so.
I think maybe we'll see. Ghost Aydan, we already talked about. I think we could see him return. Seeing Tfue return would be, oh my god, that'd be so huge for the game. If Ninja, if he put in 12 hours a day again, I mean,
oh my gosh, look,
we could be saying the old pros come back to take over the pro scene.
Okay, imagine this. Do you remember who Reverse 2K's original duo was?
Yeah,
that's
Ninja,
what
right?
made Reverse 2K? Freaking Ninja. It didn't make Reverse 2K. That's not fair. But
yeah,
well, it kind of did. But Ninja nobody thinks of him as a comp player because he's not a comp player. He plays pubs. He plays Fortnite all day now, even with Halo launching, which we'll touch on Halo in a little bit. There's a reason he's playing Fortnite instead of Halo right now, though. But he loves Fortnite right now. He personally thinks that Fortnite's in a great spot. He doesn't agree with us on some things, obviously, but I think that if it's good enough, he could really start to dip his toe back into competitive. And if you've ever watched Ninja, if you're a kid that just says, "Oh, Ninja's not good, he's washed," blah blah blah, you probably don't watch him. If you ever actually watch Ninja, you quickly realize, while not maybe not to the level of Tfue, but he's one of those guys that if he actually played comp for a week or two and got back into it, he would destroy any of us in here. Like, I know that's hard to admit because Ninja was never that great because he was a pub stomper.
Yeah.
But like, he could. He's a competitive player in Halo. He's just a competitor. He's an esports
legend.
He is a professional player. Like, he's an esports legend, and
he's never actually. By the way, guys, he's never actually tried Fortnite competitive. Like, I don't think. He's never like.
He did. The only time he did was during Friday Fortnites with Keemstar, his little quote tournaments before Fortnite actually started doing their own competitive stuff.
And
he won a lot, by the way. Yeah. He was dominating those. But he's never tried. And so I don't think he necessarily will, but I would kill to see him put 2 middle fingers up and say, I can do this. And just because I think he would shock a lot of people. Yeah, Aydan, by the way, this is kind of off topic, but speaking of Ghost Aydan, I do think he'll come back. I agree with you. And if we see a NickMercs Aydan duo, that would be absolutely incredible.
That's what I'm saying. If duo FNCS comes back, I think we'll see a lot of old people, like, old streamers who used to play the game, come back. And I think we'll see a lot of old competitive players come back. I think we'll see so much. Yeah. Duos is one of those game modes where it's not impossible to find a teammate. Trios, it's very hard to, it's way harder than going from duo to trio. It's way harder than people think.
And duos is a lot easier, like just day of. Like, I don't see this happening, but if you're Tim the Tap Man and you've been playing Warzone every day, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's an FNCS today. I haven't played Fortnite in a month, but like, hey, Courage, like, do you want to play this just for fun with me, or like, do you want to try to get the chance for just for fun and do it? Like, I think you could see that with some, not Tim the Tap Man specifically, but like guys like that. Yeah. I think you could see it more. Maybe a lot easier just to get teammates, like you said. But yeah, Aydan NickMercs would be interesting. I don't think that'd be smart for them because you probably don't want 2 controller players in the same team.
Can't do that anymore. But it'd be fun to watch.
You never know. But Aydan is a monster, though. And speaking of, so Warzone tournament, I believe it was $100,000 the winner got. And Aydan ended up in a 1v1 in the game to win it, to win $100,000. And guess who won? If any of you follow the Call of Duty League or just Call of Duty in general, Scumpy, Seth, whatever you want to call him, won $100,000, won the big Warzone tournament. That's crazy. This man is probably the greatest CDL player of all time. Probably the greatest, just like search and story player, just old school Call of Duty player of all time. And people, he kind of didn't disappear, but you don't hear from him much because now BRs are in. People don't really do that anymore. And he's still on top. At some point, we talk about Tfue. We've talked about some other guys as far as being the greatest gamers of all time. And I know like he's kind of handcuffed to just COD, but at some point you got to consider Scump maybe the greatest gamer of all time, because like that's not easy. That's 2 completely different type of games, like a BR
and he's been
versus.
doing it for years too.
He's been doing it since like 2010.
Like a decade.
Like, he goes way back. He was on the Optic team with Nade Shot, like way back. Like, and before that, I think it was Cloud or whatever. Like this man has been in this scene in Call of Duty for a long time. And at this point, he's the greatest COD player of all time.
Yeah,
he's got to be.
That isn't even arguable, I don't think.
No, it's not. And I just kind of wanted to touch on that because you said Aydan, and it reminded me of it. Which Aydan, that's also an argument against Aydan coming back for Fortnite, because he's proven time and time again he might be. I know he ended up losing that 1v1, but he was in a bad spot. I think he might be the best Warzone player in the world right now. It's arguable. There's like 10 people that could be considered, but he might be. So for him to come back to Fortnite, they have to, when I say nail it, they have to find a perfect sweet spot.
No flaws. Not even one.
No flaws.
Not even one.
Not even one. They have to, there's a sweet spot. There's new content, new map. They have to find a perfect sweet spot between all of that and adding in a nostalgic feel. And I think they have a card up their sleeve that's going to bring everyone back, because it's 2 cards. A new chapter, everybody's going to play it for at least a day, right? You got to admit, even if it's terrible, they're going to play it. Yeah, they're gonna play it for one day. Like I said, the doctor disrespects the people who will never play it like full time. He'll play it for that first day. I guarantee you. All those any content creator that cares about their content, yeah, they're gonna play it. So, I mean, they have that, but then their second card is that it's Christmas, and they're gonna cover it in snow, and that's everyone's favorite part of Fortnite, doing the the crack shot cabin and all the presents and the snow covering the ground. So they're going to have eyeballs on their game, and they're going to probably, they might not break Twitch records, but they're going to be the top of Twitch for a couple of days. Like, no one's going to compete with them for at least those 2 days. Not even Halo with the full launch. Like, nothing will come close. So they have to nail it, because that's a two-sided sword. You have everyone looking at you. You have great pub on the game. So if you don't do well, or even if it's just good but not great, you're screwed. Like, it's over. Like, at that point, if you mess up again after the 2 years of this, it's over. Fortnite is dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
100%. I mean, if they don't, like, if they don't at least get it better than what Chapter 2 was, they have no chance ever. I don't care what other game modes they have. I don't care what the future plans are. If they don't get it at least better than Chapter 2, it's done. It's done for. Because there's no excuses. You did multi-million-dollar collabs. You've been doing all this stuff behind the scenes. You've been hinting at this, that, and the other. Like, this is the time where they need to come out of the bang and freaking impress us for once. Like, we haven't been, like, I haven't really been impressed with Fortnite for, oh my gosh, I don't know how long. Like, since the Galactus event, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's two different things. I've been impressed from a pure, like, holy crap, this is cool, how did they do that, like, on a development side, like the Ariana Grande concert, like was just kind of like, oh my gosh. But like from a game, like having fun standpoint, no, it's been a long time. It's because like they haven't introduced anything like creative in a while. Like you have the new things in now that has to do with Naruto, like the whatever the paper bomb things are. That's not creative. You just took something from a collab and put it in the game. And
it wasn't even like a overpowered, or like it wasn't a, usually those items are overpowered. Like, I'm not saying, it's fun you'd be killed by all these overpowered weapons, but that's what makes the collabs like unique. Like, it's usually they're overpowered.
I'm okay with having OP weapons as long as they're not in an arena or in comp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to throw in like just insane, like a shockwave launcher. A shockwave launcher is OP. Like, you can get away, you can go in people's boxes, you can break the metal walls that are in now. You can do so many things. As long as it's not just like everywhere in comp, then I'm cool with it. Like, because a pub game in Fortnite, what made Fortnite so fun at one time is this chaotic, man. Like that's the cool part of Fortnite. It's not, if you want to play just a strictly walking around shooting, like just skill-based game, either play Arena where half of that stuff's not in there, or play freaking Warzone, play PUBG, like play other games. Fortnite is made to be chaotic. You're in a cartoon game. Like, it's not realistic. Like, give me shockwaves, give me just all shopping carts, give me all this crazy stuff that made Fortnite, and I'm cool with it. Just make sure it's not in comp. And I will say they've done a good job at that recently of not adding, like if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing in a champs league, let's say I'm playing in a cash cup, and I'm just chilling, and all of a sudden I get booted off a mountain by a shopping cart. Like, I'm going to be mad. Like, you know what I mean? But like if that happens at pubs, like I'm going to laugh hysterically if that happens to me.
Because
so it's two different mindsets.
Die. So it's just like,
it's funny. Like, it's fun. And I think Fortnite has done an awful job, like over Chapter 2,
having fun.
Realizing, there's fun. No fun. It's no fun. And I know a lot of people blame that on the quote sweats.
No. Look,
part of me gets that mentality a little bit, because when you're a pub, it's super annoying. The kid who refuses, like if I run into Zimmy on a pub game, I'm gonna lose my mind, because like running into somebody who's so sweaty, just play Arena. But like if you're gonna play like that, but that's not really fair to say, because I do that in pubs too. Like I feel like you play to win the game. So there's a few things that totally like just ruin that argument. Number one, people have gotten better over the last 4 years.
Number two,
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, sweats haven't ruined like casual Fortnite. What's ruined casual? Just if you want to see what ruined casual Fortnite, go to Chapter 2 Season 1 on Fortnite.gg and then compare it to the Chapter 2 Season 8 map, and then tell me that sweats ruined Fortnite, right? And once you do that, then maybe I'll believe you. But I don't think you're going to say that when you look at the difference between the Chapter 2 Season 1 map and the Chapter 2 Season 8 map, because you just won't, because there's no difference.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I agree with you. Sweats didn't ruin it. Like, that's not a thing.
No.
But I was just saying that I understand why people think that, because most people who think that don't actually play anymore. Yeah. It's the people who are getting pooped on for.
It's an easy excuse to say, "Oh, I don't play this game because people are just too good."
Yeah, when in reality, that's not the reason. Because if you did play, you would know that skill base is so just dumb right now that if you're not good, the game's going to detect it, and you're going to play against actual bots, and you're going to win most of your games.
Yeah.
And if you're someone like you in pubs, you can pub stomp, you can dominate pubs. It's the people like me who get screwed more than anything with skill-based matchmaking, because I'm not on the level as you, but I'm placed in the same lobbies as you because I'm on PC and because I have 500-600 wins, whatever it is, with a good KD or whatever, like a decent So I don't know how skill-based works. I never released that. But for whatever reason, I'm placed with just insane pub players, and I get pooped on. Well, I don't get pooped on, but there are moments where I get pooped on. It's super annoying because I'll just be chilling, talking to a friend in a Discord while I'm playing. I'll box up and just talk for a second, and then boom, someone takes my wall, flips a ramp on me, and I'm dead. And I'm just like, what is this? So I don't know. I got off on a tangent there. That goes back to my hate for skill-based matchmaking. Shouldn't be in the game. I know this isn't Donald Mustard, but I'm going to keep referring to Donald Mustard. Fix your game. It shouldn't be in. We have arena for a reason. Why put skill base in the game? But we'll touch on one more thing, and then we'll kind of give final thoughts on Chapter 3. Halo did a surprise launch just a couple of days ago, and it was weird. It was really weird because they're set to launch on December 8th, and the full game still does as far as the campaign. But they just tweeted a couple of days ago and were like, surprise, and we got the full multiplayer. I think they're going to add a few more maps and game modes, but I've played it a lot. And really, I know you haven't.
I think I'm going to try it out today, since everybody's talking about it. I mean, why not?
Oh, I check RelayTS out on Twitch. If you need a duo or if you want to play, let me know. But Halo, it's fun, man. I really expected it to not be fun, but it's fun. Like, I thought, so when I first played Splitgate, I'll go back to that. I played it over the summer a little bit, and I remember thinking, like, this is so much fun because I miss Halo. Like, I played Halo religiously a long time ago, but I haven't played since like 2015, since Halo 5 really came out. I didn't like Halo 5, so I played the Master Chief game. And I expected this game to be good because I've seen some of the stuff, but I didn't expect it to be this fun. They found a perfect balance between new. Like, they couldn't just release a game that was strictly old Halo. Like, you can't do that. It's been 7 years, 6 years since a game release, so you can't do that. They found a perfect, like, it's 2021, graphics better, everything's better, systems better. They added some new stuff, the grappler, some different stuff, but they also made it feel like Halo. Like, it doesn't feel like a new game. Halo 5 didn't feel like Halo. Like, it feels like I'm playing Halo 2 or Halo 3. Like, it feels like an old Halo game, and it's so much fun, man. Like, if I truly didn't love Fortnite to the points where I have to play it at least every now and then, I would full dive into competitive Halo, and I would just try it out because it's so much fun right now. I think it's unless a BR is introduced soon, I do think that Halo is going to die out. It's from a streaming standpoint, but I think the player community is going to stay for a long time because they did a great job.
Well, that's always good to hear. I mean, I'm glad seeing these old games, come back, and finally, like no game is like, I don't know. I feel like Fortnite just impressed so many people, and and now people are other games are trying to live up to it, and they just haven't been able to do that. And now that finally decent games come out, it's just good to see. I mean, Splitgate couldn't do it. Fall Guys couldn't do it. Among Us couldn't do it. So now we're here.
Oh man, Those were good times. There's been a lot of games that came and went. The funny, you mentioned Among Us, you mentioned Fall Guys. Fall Guys had probably the shortest stint I've ever seen.
Maybe
Among Us
like
at
a
least
week
lasted.
and a half. Fall Guys,
Like it was basically like right after Tim finally won his like that famous clip where he finally got his crown. Like nobody played it after that. Everybody was like, all right, Tim won. We can stop playing now. But the first game that I remember doing that was actually PUBG, and PUBG it still remained big, but as far as like just being in the limelight of the biggest game on Twitch, people playing it lasted for like 3 months, and then Fortnite came out. And I've never felt worse for a game than that, because it wasn't their fault. PUBG did a great job. They introduced new stuff. They put new things in the game. And it was actually the developer who created H1Z1. And he was hired to go make PUBG, and he created it. And then right after he did, the biggest sensation in gaming history came out months after. And feels bad, man.
they just dominated. They just came out and just wrecked the scene. Like,
yeah, they did.
Unbelievable.
They did. And I think we're going to look back one day and realize that Fortnite had such a bigger impact than we want to give it credit for it even right now. Me and you give it credit for it, but there's so many people, like in their mind, it's something so simple as it was fun and now it's not. It goes a lot deeper than that. Like Fortnite.
It's the reason that your favorite games are not fun right now. That's what it is.
Agreed, because it set the bar so high. But Fortnite also, it crossed it's the first game to ever cross between gaming and the real world. And what I mean by that is, and we've said this before, and I sound like a broken record, but you don't see gaming in mainstream news. Like, you don't see that. And in our minds, we think of YouTube and gaming as mainstream, but it's not. Like, if you ask the average person, they don't know this stuff. Mainstream news channels on cable TV still has a far bigger reach than we give it credit for as younger people. Well, you're younger. I'm kind of older, but so when Fortnite did that, when you saw Ninja on the Ellen show and you saw Fortnite being talked about, there's endless clips of, bigger CNN, Fox News, like all this stuff covering Fortnite. It's crazy. Like, we have never seen that before. And until gaming gets mainstream, we won't see it again. And I think Fortnite created the building blocks to doing that. And so we're going to look back in 20 years and just, even if you hate Fortnite now, I promise you'll look back in 20 years and just kind of give a salute, because Fortnite did something I don't think we ever thought possible.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why I love this game so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, they did things they literally did the unthinkable. I mean, Fortnite was in our local newspaper. Like, nothing, that is never, you just don't see it. And like you said, you won't see that again unless, the World Cup 2022 comes around or gaming goes mainstream, which probably won't happen for like 5 to 10 years. But either way, like you said, I do agree that Fortnite really made that next step to where it's now in consideration that gaming could be on ESPN or, whatever, stuff like that. I think Fortnite definitely, allowed that to be a thought. So I think that's just huge for gaming in general. And that's why, I'm so, I don't know, like Fortnite's just such a big, I love it so much. I don't know. I literally cannot get away from it. Even if I don't like playing the game, like, I just like, oh my gosh, I just want to play Fortnite today. And I'll play for 30 minutes to get off. But I still had the love for the game. I still have the passion for the game for some reason. I just have such high hopes for it. I really hope that they do not disappoint, because my hopes and dreams are just going to be crushed if they do, man. I have such high hopes for Donald Mustard and all the people at Epic Games, like, to crush this, but I don't know, man. If they don't, man, I'm just gonna be sitting in my room doing nothing for a month straight. Like, it's gonna be a dog time if they do not crush this chapter 3, and I think they will. But who knows? I guess we won't know until it happens.
I totally agree, and you're not alone in that. I'm the same way, and people like NickMercs do the same thing. Like NickMercs doesn't play it because he knows has got a good thing going on with Warzone and Apex right now, but he's said himself he watches competitive Fortnite. He watches streams all day. He loves Fortnite. And like, if you've ever loved Fortnite, it's hard to get out of it because it's just it's so fun. Every single match of a BR is so different than the one previously. So I don't know. Fortnite Chapter 3 has to be a hit. It really does. And I think it will be. I really do. I wish we had more predictions for you guys.
I do have my doubts, though. I do have my doubts about Chapter 3. I do. Like, I can't just, brush them off. But
let's hear.
I have my doubts.
What are you afraid of? Let's hear. What's your biggest fear?
That they go with the Chapter 2 ways, and we get a new map, and it's fun for a month, and then it just falls off, and it's going to be the same thing, and then it's going to die. That's what I'm afraid of. And, like, I can't just say that I'm 100% confident Fortnite's going to hit this out of the park, but man, I wish I was 100% confident. I do have my doubts. Like, I do have my doubts that they're just gonna let this opportunity slip out of their hands because they've done it before. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again, got complacent. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit it out of the park.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing. I'm in the same boat because personally, I think they're going to nail the beginning of it. I don't think there's any shot that they release a Chapter 3 without it being prepared. Like, Chapter 2 was awesome. If you remember, the first week or two was incredible. Like, we had so many new mechanics because there's a lot of mechanics now that we think of being in the game forever, but it wasn't. Like, picking somebody up. Couldn't do that until Chapter 2, Season 1. Throwing items. I mean, obviously swimming. But just a bunch of different things that were introduced that we take advantage of now. So I think it's going to be similar. But like you said, it's not enough just to nail the first day. Like, by New Year's, so it's released on December 7th. By New Year's, there needs to be something significant updated in it. And then within the next week or two, there needs to be something else significant. Like, they need to do things like they did in Chapter 1. Like, they have to. Like, maybe not weekly updates, but bi-weekly updates. Because they're doing that now. But in updates where you just put in a mech, like, mech is kind of significant, but, like, that's not enough. Like, there needs to be a block.
I mean, at this point in Chapter 2, it's just like, okay, thanks, Fortnite, but you know that we hate you for this chapter. Thanks for giving us a little bit of hope at the end of Chapter 2. I think they're just throwing stuff at us to just say sorry. For the next 2 weeks, I think they're going to do it. They're just apologizing for how horrible this chapter was, and then hopefully they just redeem us in Chapter 3. I think that's what's happening. I think they're apologizing right now by putting out updates at the end of Chapter 2. That's my little theory.
I agree, and I think that's backed up by kind of the old stuff that they're putting back in. Because if they wanted to, they could have come out with new stuff and introduced it, but instead of like spaceships or something, they're putting in the mech and they're putting in shopping carts, which again, I can't get over that. That's so weird.
Yeah.
But I'm here for it. Well, before we close out, I kind of wanted to, just a fun little thing. If you could play one game of Fortnite with any person on Earth, who would you play with?
Oh, man.
I will say any person, like any Fortnite person, or any person who's played Fortnite. Like, you can't pick like Elon Musk or something. You have to pick somebody in the scene. Man. Even if they don't play anymore, or even if they don't create content anymore, who would you play with?
Wow, dude, that is such a tough question because it's like
I put him on the. Yeah, guys, we did not discuss this before. I just put him on the spot.
Yeah, this is hard because I mean, like a year ago, I would have said Nick A30 without hesitation. But I mean, I have Nick A30 at the top of my mind, Colazo at the top of my mind. Colazo, I've been watching him on Twitch for forever. I have Cypher on my mind. Obviously, all the big guys like Ninja, Tfue, all those guys. But man,
I wouldn't play with Tfue.
Yeah, I think Tfue.
He'd just be so annoying.
Yeah,
he'd just sit there the whole time.
But I mean, probably either Nick A30 or like Ninja. Honestly, maybe Colazo, someone like that. Either someone I've watched a lot or someone who's like just an icon.
Yeah. So I'm between. It's kind of weird for me because part of me wants to say Ninja just because I would love to have a conversation with Ninja, just because there was a point in my life where just like Ninja was so he was so big for gaming in general. I would love to just talk to him, but like from a just conversation, like just I would love to play a game. NickMercs, I would kill to just play anything. I'd play Pokemon with NickMercs. I don't really care. I'd
play solitaire with NickMercs.
The only thing I wouldn't play with NickMercs is anything where we have to fight each other. I'd probably stay out of that.
Yeah.
But no, NickMercs, I'd probably play with him or maybe Tim the Tap Man, but probably NickMercs because I don't know, man. I would just love to have a conversation with some of these people and just first off thank them because they've really meant a lot to a lot of people. And I know they realize that, but I don't think sometimes as a creator, it's hard to realize how much you do mean to somebody because even if you're just putting out stupid content, like being stupid or just being funny or whatever you do, there's a lot of people going through stuff, and just that simple joke or that simple bit of content you put out can really help them forget about their pain. So I know that got a little bit deep, but that's why we do this. Like that's the point of content creation. So I would just love to talk to a lot of these people and just thank them because they've done a lot for a lot of people, and that's what some people don't understand. Like our parents are just kind of different generations of people. They don't understand how important this stuff is. But yeah, going back to, I'd probably play a game with NickMercs. I just kind of want to throw that question.
I'd probably play with Nick 30 because he got me into streaming. He's the guy who wanted me to stream. So probably play with him.
I didn't realize that. So a big Nick 30 guy.
That's why I'm mostly family friendly because of Nick 30.
Yeah.
I was watching him like December 2017, and I watched him all in his YouTube years. That's why I started streaming on YouTube because I didn't even
back when he wore his button-up shirts.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't even know what Twitch was. That's why I started streaming on YouTube, and then like a month into streaming on YouTube, I switched to Twitch because Nick A30 was over there. So
yeah. Well, with that being said, Nick A30, if somehow this podcast gets to you, we would love to have you on. We would love to have a conversation with you. But yeah, no, I think it's impossible to hate Nick A30.
Yeah, it really is.
He's such a good guy. And most of these people are. There are very few that are just bad people. Even Tfue, he gets a bad rep sometimes, but he's a really good dude in my opinion. He's a little more abrasive than some of the other guys. Ninja's the same way. People hate Ninja. But yeah, well, we're coming up towards the end of the podcast. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to touch on before we peace out as far as Fortnite or anything like that?
Well, I just wanted to say I hope it's due up in CS. I hope that all the news you've heard right now, since this is not going to be out before it happens, I hope it's all good news, and I hope that Fortnite nails Chapter 3 and we all have fun again, and there's no more, hoping that Fortnite's good. It's just that Fortnite's good. But that's what I hope for.
Awesome. Well, I do want to, before we peace out, I feel like we might have done a bad job for this. If you were just joining in for the first time and you don't really keep up with Fortnite to that level, I feel like we just kind of touched on this and just kind of assumed that you did know. So I apologize. But so Chapter 3 is confirmed by Hypex and some other guys who are very trustworthy. It's in the coding, so we do have physical evidence. They've also been told by their sources from Epic Games. So Chapter 3 is coming. The live event will be December 5th. There'll be a 2-day downtime period. The black hole was updated in the files as well. I personally don't think it's going to be an actual black hole. I think that's just a placeholder. I think it's going to be the same concept, but maybe the actual image we look at is something different than a black hole, because I don't see them copying the same thing. I see it being something a little different. But yeah, just a refresher on that. If you didn't know, we kind of assumed that you did, so apologies. But with that being said, it's time for us to peace out. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, coming soon to Pandora. If there is anywhere else that you would like to see us on, please let us know. We will get it on there ASAP, even if it's just one of you. We will get it on there, promise. And then we are also on TikTok, the Gamers_Den, Twitter, the Gamers_Den, and YouTube, the Gamers Den Podcast. We do upload everything live, not live, but a video version on YouTube. If you're listening to us in the podcast version, you want to go see that. Leave a 5-star review, leave a comment, leave a like, leave a sub on everything. We would really appreciate it. Relay, why don't you tell the people where they can find you as well?
RelayTS and pretty much every single social. I stream every single day on Twitch, RelayTS, YouTube, RelayTS, Twitch, RelayTS, Twitter, RelayTS, etc. Also, drop a comment on what questions you have for the next podcast. We'd love to answer.
Yep, we will shout your name out if you do give us a question. We will talk about it. With that being said, yep, you can find me, crenbeast, and all stuff. Guys, we have some pretty cool stuff, pretty cool content coming your way planned out. So make sure to stay tuned because we're excited to get that to you. But with that, you guys have a great day and peace, love, and blessings. See you guys.